What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another All You Can Eat Warriors, and I mean All You Can Eat Warriors, guys. Good to see you all filtering in slowly here tonight. Obviously, a little bit of a somber one after another loss over the weekend. Obviously, your boy got to watch that one live, so we'll chat about that before we jump through our team lists and stuff like that to get really excited for this weekend. Obviously, Sean Johnson coming back into the lineup is something good to talk about. Josh, what's happening? What's happening, my man? Good to see you here. Guys, I'm so sorry I didn't get to do the usual intro to the show. We're actually trying a new software at the moment, so hopefully it all looks very crispy. It all sounds very crispy. This will actually help us end up doing a lot more post work as well. So, but thank you all for coming in as always. What's up? What's up, Joshy? What's up, Greg? Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Man. What a week of football. Obviously, my halfback is not here tonight, Levon. So your boy's going to have to carry the show for you guys tonight. So I hope you guys enjoy the stuff that I'll be bringing with you guys. Please make sure you jump in the chat down your thoughts of anything that I'm saying, any questions you got to give to me, throw them out there. But I may as well go through my thoughts overall over the game of the weekend, because you obviously didn't get to hear my thoughts over the game of the weekend. I'm so sorry for everyone out there who's probably going to have to relive another loss there. What's going on, Tars? Thank you so much for coming through. But yeah, 34-32 at Suncorp Stadium, the Dolphins beat the Warriors. And honestly, like, this game, if you're a neutral, this game was absolutely incredible. Like, it was on a different level. Like, really, I was so excited coming to this game, thinking I had that little feeling in the air that maybe something was going to happen in this game. Maybe something was going to click into gear. Good to see you still chilling. Thank you so much for coming through. Dean, what's happening? Thank you so much for coming through. But yeah, like, I was really excited to see, all those guys in action, especially live in the flesh at Suncorp Stadium. My last live game, obviously, was the really unfortunate one at the Gold Coast. So hopefully the boys will come into this game and really dominate. But early on, obviously, it took a little bit for the boys to really get into the contest here, as we all kind of would have known, just with, the new combinations, as, it's kind of been throughout this whole season, the amount of injuries that we've had this season, the amount of mix of combinations that we've had this season, and even we'll talk about it tonight with our team list of this weekend, another new combination. We're pretty much going back to what we had to start with, close enough. I know Shinaris is looking at 6th role. We'll talk about it a bit more about that a little bit later on. But in this game with Tamati Mutton and Shinaris Davida, they took a little bit to warm into the game, especially Tamati Mutton. He took a little bit before he started really get his attacking game on. And then sort of, we went down 20-6 at one point there. I'm pretty sure that was the score at halftime. Yeah, 20-6. The first try obviously came down to Chance, just a really bad misread at defense, covering back for that ball, the grubber that found the in goal, and obviously a really poor miss from him in that moment there. I won't hold too much of that against him. Obviously, just been in such poor form lately, just the Warriors in general. But yeah, that moment really happened. That was a really disappointing one. That's when my head started to go down a little bit, and I was like, oh, come on, boys, let it in. I think that the Dolphins ended up going back-to-back tries on us, and then I think we struck with our try with Ed Gossi from memory. And looking at the score list, yeah, that is exactly how it went there. Obviously, the Herbie Farnworth try coming off the back of Chancey. Not a good little couple of minutes there for Chance, but that other one is kind of just like, the misfortune of the bounce of the ball. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, sometimes it does go your way. And unfortunately this year, it just had to be the opposite. It just didn't go our way, as it has been throughout the majority of this year. But then you start to see, obviously, Tamati Martin started to really find his groove a little bit later on, the start of the second half, later on in this game, the start of that second half, where the boys really came out and started to fire. I thought it was really good to see. Obviously, Kurt Capewell getting over for his meaty in the corner there. He's starting to actually really find his form with the Warriors at the moment. I feel like a lot of people are starting to notice the good sides of Kurt Capewell in our side, which is good to see. A little bit too late, I would agree. Obviously, been injured for a decent chunk of this year, but him being back on that left-hand side, and really working off the back of, like, Tamati Mutton's short kicking game was actually fairly good in this game, like really nice, like a couple of deadly grubbers, and he has had that in his bag for majority of the games. And I'll talk about a little bit more about Tamati Mutton a little bit later on for, like, my thoughts around the future. But at the moment, yeah, it just really came down to The short kicking game was there. We were really striking opportunities in our second half. I think we definitely outscored the Dolphins in their second half. The 5 tries to 1, 2, 3. So really dominant second half from our boys, but unfortunately still, as it just has gone for a couple of times this year, we scored more tries than the Dolphins. Statistically, we did look damaging in most areas. It was 3 line breaks apiece. But yeah, it really just came down to conversions and obviously trying to convert on those last moments. I wouldn't put it all on Shino Harris-Tavita. A couple of really poor misses where it did look like the pressure was starting to get to him a little bit, and especially it came to the field goal options. I would have loved to see maybe someone else to try and step up for that option, but maybe Chanel is just that guy, just wants to continue to really try to get over that little hump that he's getting through at the moment. And I think maybe he's that type of coach that allows the guy to really try to learn from everything and really just try to make it up as you go and really get over the hump that you threw. He really does believe you can do that in first grade, and just unfortunately it's just dropping a couple of games here. And I will talk a little bit about more stat wise about what I'm thinking around Tomato Martin and our future with that 7 role, because I'm actually not too sad about the future, what's going on with us at the moment with the Warriors. I know a lot of Warriors fans are a little bit down in the dumps, especially the way this year has turned out. I'm still holding on to the fact of the amount of missed combinations we had this year, the amount of injuries. It just really didn't go our way this year, but I'll talk a little bit more later on about that sort of stuff. So a couple of key performances for me. I really did enjoy the performance of Ali Leotoa for that second half performance that he had there. Obviously, really unfortunate the knock on in the end goal on that, but he started to really find his feet a little bit in the contest. We've all know he can be a damaging ball runner, and we did see that in this contest with a major line break that ended up, leading to that moment where he ended up dropping into the corner and then getting knocked out, which is really unfortunate. I would have loved to see a little bit more of Ali. I think he's definitely got a massive future, and for next year probably would be, for me, looking at maybe a starting center role, maybe with Rocco Berry. I'm not too sure in the future. We'll have to really see how this year finishes to pan out, but I definitely feel like I got really high praise in big moments he started to stand up, which is really good to see from a young bloke. I know that drop in the corner was a little bit of a disappointing moment, but we end up striking a little bit later on with another young junior coming through, Dimitrik Sifakula, and I think that's what everyone is so excited to see. Dimitrik actually step up on the big stage here, scoring his first try in first grade, looked damaging when he was out there for his little 10-minute stint or so, end up, the quick play, the ball started off that end up play that he ended up scoring on. And I just know I turned to my boys and stuff, and they're like, bro, that's a big boy moving that way. And I'm like, yeah, bro, he's put on some size. So excited to see more Dimitrik Sifakula. Again, as I'll keep saying, we'll talk a little bit more about Dimitrik because he has been named in the the top 17 this week. So really excited to see possibly more out of him this week, and possibly we could see Lecker or something come onto the bench. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Again, overall, lastly, before I move off this game, guys, really disappointing on, us losing, right? That's the biggest thing. The more thing I'm disappointed on was more of our defensive side of things. And it's just been the big problem throughout this whole season. And it's just it's individuals across the park that are just having lapses. I feel like our team structure, our team unit defensively is fairly strong. We end up finding moments in the game where we can really hold a team down on the opposite end. As soon as they really find moments against us, it just feels like the boys just switch off for moments. And it's really, really frustrating. And I know as a fan watching it, it's a nail biter. You don't know when the boys are just going to start leaking everything and you don't. And especially coming off the 66-6 game with the Titans, probably about a month ago now that I watched live, after that game, this has really become a point to now where I start to nail bite a little bit back in, feeling of the old school Warriors, which is really, really it sucks to feel that way because I do feel like we've come so far away from that, in my opinion. But now I'm starting to get those jitters again to where, as we see, we lost 34-32. We conceded 34 points. And that's been my biggest thing throughout the season. I think attacking-wise, I do understand a lot of people coming out and saying maybe we need to change it to a couple of things. I know in the first half, 20-6, we get into halftime. We had a lot more ball. We had a lot more possession down the opposite end. My biggest thing is no matter what, we cannot concede 20 before halftime. You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing. I think attack always will come. We see that throughout the season. There's a couple of stats we'll end up saying now. I think we started off as an 18 point per game attack, and we've ended up coming all the way to a 26 point per game attack, which is a really good solid baseline. But the problem is our defense actually started at a 13 point per game consistency at the start this year, and it's actually blown all the way out to another 26 point per game consistencies. And that's the biggest worry for me in the future. But yeah, That's just mine overall. I think that, again, like, yeah, I'm not trying to put too much blame on Schneider Stavida. Obviously, 4 out of 6 is still a positive note kicking-wise. But, the big moments started really come in, and being our 5th choice kicker, I know people are saying 4th choice kicker. We've had 4 other people in front of him. Tane Tuapiki was another one, Metcalf, Sean Johnson, and Adam Pompey, who, again, we'll talk about a little bit later on, which is so good to see a couple of boys coming off injury coming into this weekend's matchup. So, while I say that, guys, I will jump over to you guys and really bounce off you guys in the chat before we start talking about the team list of this weekend and a couple of big news around this weekend. Again, yeah, I probably didn't touch on it too much too before the stream as well. No Levant tonight, which really, hopefully he's doing well out there. My halfback or my coach, my captain, whatever you want to call him, the big boy. Hopefully he's doing well. He's had some family stuff going on. So hopefully he's doing well. Hopefully his family is all well. Not like, it's just stuff going on. So hopefully he's doing well out there. All right. Mavar. Yes, I did end up going to the game, my bro. Yeah, it was a disappointing watch, obviously, but the game itself was so entertaining. Like, it was a really entertaining game, start to finish. Like, the moments we had in that game too, just like it being around the Warriors fans, just standing up and jumping up and just celebrating the moments that were coming back, and we just felt like we were gonna get over the top of the Dolphins. Like, we ended up fairly dominant in this game. I felt like we ended up being the more dominant side in in big moments of this game, just unable to really capitalize on other little opportunities to get over the top of the Dolphins. And obviously, defending is our biggest thing. Like, Herbie Farnworth was a freak the other night. He was a freak. Taz, honestly, I was really unimpressed. Yes, we scored points, but how do you score more tries and still lose? We've done that twice this season, and it's been really unfortunate to see that. Again, it shows that we can put tries in there, but the thing is, like, everyone could say about Shanaris Davida converting and that. I would just love to see us not concede 30 points to end up having Chanel having to kick the way he had to kick. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather us, hold the Dolphins to the 20-point margin, the 18-point margin. Like, the Dolphins are a really good attacking side. We've seen that this year. Obviously, they put 30 on the Roosters. The Roosters end up coming over the top, 40 points to them. I'm pretty sure they put a high score line on the Panthers, who end up getting, 30 put on them against the Parramatta Eels, and they end up coming home with that victory. But again, for me, for us in the future to become a top 8 team again, to become a team that a lot of people will worry about playing with, defensively is where it all starts. And that's why I'm still positive on the club overall. I think next year, James Fisher-Harris is going to bring some really good standards, especially defensively moving on. But this year, obviously, the big thing we need to learn from is we need to build everything off defense. Our attack will end up coming, and I feel like with players like Luke Metcalf and all getting back and fit and ready, they're sort of game breakers for me that I like to have back in the lineup. Everyone's saying we're missing speed. Luke Metcalf is speed. I know we're probably missing a little bit of speed down the back line and stuff, but Luke Metcalf definitely has the speed and the edge that we have, the game breaking ability that we have to end up picking up those moments. Defensively is the biggest area that I really want to see us to get fixed up on. That's why that's where I'm really stuck on, where I just and that kind of shows that I feel like that comes down to multiple combinations that are in and out of the lineup. Multiple different injuries in different positions. We've had Kurt Capewell start on the right, go to the left. We had Jackson Ford start on the left, go to the right, go to the middle, go to the bench. We've had that many mixing matches. Roger Tavashek has found himself in the center, the wing, the fullback. It's just the way the season has really panned out. We've had that many different fullbacks. We've had that many different halves this year. Combination-wise, defensively, we are unable to really build a solid foundation, and the group just doesn't seem to have really come together like it did last year. And I think that's very obvious to see. And unfortunately, obviously Shawnee is retiring, and we all know that, and that's really unfortunate. But I also do think it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise for both people here. I think that maybe Shawnee is just obviously coming towards the end of his career. Injuries are really hampering him. If he's going to be in and out of the lineup, obviously the boys are starting to look at him the other way and be like, no, injury-wise, you're just not always there. We just need you out there fit and firing. And I don't think mentally, mentally he's there, but physically his body's just not there. And it's probably best for the future of us to have more of a consistent lineup during the season, to have players like this maybe end up moving on and stuff like that, which is really sad to see, but that's just my thoughts. NP, how good was Ali? He put on some size, looked like AFB. Yeah. Ali was really, really solid. CNK has had a poor season. I don't think he's had such a poor season. I think that's been an overreaction by a lot of fans out there. I think he's actually had a steady season. He hasn't had the same season as last season, but injuries has been the biggest thing that hold him back. And that's the biggest thing with me is, like, I know a lot of people are calling for Taine Tuapiki as well, like, you know, but people forget, like, what's the consistent thing that's been happening with Taine Tuapiki when he gets to first grade? Incredible footballer, but he's very similar to a Wade Egan type that ends up finding a head knock in the game. The amount of games that I've seen with Taine Tuapiki, I think he's only finished out 1 or 2 full games in first grade this year. And from memory, it would be the Panthers game, the one that we end up winning. And I'm trying to pick another game off the top of my head right now. Majority of those games, we had Roger Tuivasa-Sheck having to fill in a fullback role. You know, the Doggies game was CNK from memory, no. So I think the Raiders game was him. And from memory, I think, yeah, he went down in the Raiders game as well. So having Roger at full-time fullback maybe is a lot of people's options, but I think CNK does a great job and just a similar job as what RTS does. Probably not the most game-breaking ability comparatively out of the two, but I think Roger can do a lot of good things either on the wing and center. I think, you know, we're starting to see a little bit more of that, but that's just my thoughts. Jacko, yeah, agreed, my bro. Agreed. What else have we got here? Tanya, we don't have good to see you too, Tans. Appreciate you coming through. We don't have a problem getting down to the other end of the field. It's crossing the line that's the problem. It's like we run out of ideas. I think that, like, over the weekend, again, we scored 32 points. So, like, for me, over the weekend, our attack, the second half is where it all came together. And my reasoning for that is more of the fact of the amount of missed combinations we've had this year, like different combinations. You know, it took Tamade a little bit of time to really find his feet in this game and really find it. We saw early on in the game, I think Murata Niokore dropped a couple of balls. A lot of it did happen in front of us as well and down the opposite end as well. Like, you know, just missing assignments early on. And then as soon as Tamade started to find the feel of the game a little bit, because he is very much of a, a free spirit type of player, like he'll end up just playing what he feels. He's a gunslinger. It took a little bit for him to find his moments and really play the right pass. And then when he did, and most of it was to play the right kick in behind, he was really damaging the Dolphins over the weekend. So for me, yeah, attacking was like, you know, for me, attacking was fairly good. The ones that really worried me was, just those defensive misses that the boys just switched off. Like there's a couple of big missed assignments over the weekend, and it's been happening majority throughout this year. And a lot of it has happened in places that have actually been mixed and matched due to players even coming in and out of the lineup. So for me, that's the difference from us last year is, you know, from the start to the end of last year, we end up having a group that actually came together and really bit in together. This year, I think a lot of disruptions that have happened in our lineup, still not a major excuse because I feel like the team that we have on paper should be a lot better than that. But the reasoning for that for me has come down to the disruptions we've had in the starting lineup this year. What else have we got here, my homies? Bobby Carr, what's happening? Everyone, it was good to hear the Warriors fans at the stadium sounded good over the TV. Bro, honestly, the Warriors fans turnout at the Dolphins game over the weekend at Suncorp was massive. Like, you know, the Warriors fans in Queensland is huge. Like, we see it at the Gold Coast games every time that I've been there. And every time I go to Suncorp, it's usually a massive turnout. So shout out to the Warriors fans over in Australia. You guys are absolutely incredible. Jacko here, we have gone from top 4 to a present bottom 4. In reality, it's not a lot to be positive about. Yeah, 100%. Like, this season hasn't got a lot to be positive about. I'm just more so looking at, like, picking up the pieces. Like, if we pick up the pieces here, we've seen a lot of good juniors pop through now. We've seen a lot of players that, you know, Mitch Barnett has actually stepped up his game from last year. So we have seen some players, like, you know, elevate their game under Webby, which is really good to see overall. Again, yeah, it's really tough to say because, you know, we have had a very poor year. We've gone from, as you said, top 4, but right now we're not bottom 4 yet. I know on the ladder it says bottom 4 right now, but we haven't had the buy points really been added to us. So a lot of the other teams that are above us right now, we actually do jump with the buy points. A majority, like the main one is the Titans. So the Titans, obviously they've had all their buy points. We do end up having more points than them, and we end up jumping them overall. I think the Broncos sit around. So we are just outside that bottom 4, but I do agree with you, bro. It has been a very disappointing season, but for me, we got to be positive. We got to have a good outlook over the side. Like for me, I'm still very positive on Webby. I'm still very positive in the systems we have in place, our junior grades, which I will touch on a little bit before we go into our team list and stuff like that. There is really good signs in our squad. I still believe, and I know you guys probably think I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not too sure, but I really do believe that we are building a really good foundation. It's probably the best position we've been in for a long, long time. But obviously a lot of fans just see our first grade squad and see what's going on there and really, really disappointed this year, which is fair, which is 100% fair. But I think overall what has Webby and the higher ups have brought into the club at the moment, we will end up getting better from this season. I feel like there has been a lot of, reasonings to why this has happened this year. Probably shouldn't have happened this badly. 100%. I completely agree. But I feel like, we just happened one of those wretched seasons that just nothing is really going our way, honestly. What else we got here, guys? What else we got here? Yeah, Jacko, we'll be talking about Crosby, bro. Like that try, obviously that wasn't against first grade competition. Yeah, and everyone that's going to say that, completely understand. But still to have the talent to do that as a front rower, and from a lot of rumors from what I've heard, he runs under 11 seconds in 100 meter. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I have heard that rumor. As a front rower, that is mental. So get excited for a lot of these juniors coming through, guys. Trust me, we'll be talking about a little bit more of that because I have been updated over the last games over the weekend. I've seen a couple of the highlights and that, but I've had a guy, one of the boys, review the game for me and really, talk to me about his thoughts over a couple of players and that. So we will talk about that a little bit soon. I just want to run through a couple of little questions here. Zach Bruv, in the offseason, they work on defense, kicking games, setting plays around Metcalf and Tomato Martin is definitely something to look forward for in 2025. I do agree. Don, what's happening? Thank you so much for coming through, my bro. Totally agree about defense. Too many head starts given away and miss Metcalf. Love your workout. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you always coming through. Jacko, SJ and Mets injuries have really crueled the season, but it is what it is. Yeah, it definitely has. And just to add on with that, the amount of injuries that we've had from players that are trying to build into their games this season. RTS had injuries to start the season. CNK didn't come into the Rabbitohs game this year. Tane Tuapiki was in and out of our lineup. He was started a year, then he was out again. Wade Egan's been in and out of the lineup. There's so many different things I can really go on with. But again, I don't want to make it as an excuse because again, I do agree with a lot of people. Is we still should be a lot better, but I've heard a lot of the teams down this end of the ladder saying that they've had the same sort of problems and that's their excuses. We've got reasonings for why this has happened. It shouldn't have happened this badly, 100%, but I'm still finding pieces where I'm statistically, again, I continue to go, the game's not always built on statistics, right? But we are a dominant side. We're still one of the best running sides in the competition. We get ourselves in a really good field position. As Tan's pointed out before, we do a lot of great things. But because the team hasn't felt like it's really come together this year, defensively is where you start to see those sort of moments happen. Defense is all about attitude and a group coming together. You got a system that comes together, right? But the boys have to buy in and really tie in for the whole season defensively for that to happen. You look at the Dogs, they're not the most incredible outfit, start to finish, top to bottom, but because they all bought into a system and the similar system that we have, and you have a leader Critter that's really leading the boys along. He's brought the boys together. That is the reason why they defend so hard. They defend hard for each other. What I would say, I had heard whispers throw a lot of disruptions within the group this year. But, again, I just wish the boys would have tied in, especially for a lot of boys Adam Fanor Blake obviously leaving the club. That sucks. I wish we all came together, really did something there, whether he wanted to or not, I'm not too sure. Sean Johnson, the same thing, whether we knew that it was his last year. I don't think we knew until really late, but again, I wish we all tied in and did something with this group together, but I just don't think we had a game where we all came together as a group and got over the top of a team that really propelled us into the same sort of form that what happened last year, with that Sharks game. I think that's really what's going on here. Yeah, we'll get through our team list very shortly, my bro. I just wanted to touch on, round out my thoughts overall on the game over the weekend. Obviously, you didn't see me over the weekend. I was live at the game and all that, so I apologize. I wasn't able to go live and that with Levon. But we'll talk a little bit more about that, my bro. There is definitely a couple of tweaks that will happen in our lineup. I do think will happen, so we'll have to wait and see. Let's see how we go. At the end of the day, we all know that there's a top 4 squad in there somewhere. Maybe, bro. Maybe we were overhyping this side a little bit too much. I feel like the side that we have on paper is still a really, really good side. But again, like I overhyped us this year too. Like, coming into this year, I thought we were going to be a top 4 side. Maybe we should have been a top 4 side. Like that's the expectation after what we had last year. And that's, I think, other teams in the competition, like the Doggies, have that expectation next year. Like they've done what they've done this year. And I have my best mate is a Doggies fan. And, for them to get to where they are now, but he still has those little things like, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. Like to have a team like what we were as well, like they're really pretty much like hitting the same trajectory as what we were just a year behind was, we came from a bottom 2 team to a top 4 team. So the expectation just went straight through the roof because of the year that we had. It was an incredible year that we actually had. And I'm starting to see a lot of people call it a fluke. I don't agree with that. Like if you start calling that a fluke and you start saying this season is what it is, what we're supposed to be, then like, you're going to use excuses for the last season, but not use excuses for this season. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of, I feel like whatever's happened has happened and we are up to that level we can be. But the thing is, like, with the boys that came into the lineup, like, I still believe there is a great side in there. It's just a classic fashion. It just doesn't really happen for us at the moment. What do we got here? Tahu. Good to see you, Tahi. Appreciate you coming through, my man. Tahu is missed by far too much overtime to start the season. Just add rest of byproducts. Yeah, it'll be good to see Tahu back and firing next year. He definitely has been a little bit of a miss, but I do think that he has slowed down a touch this year. But again, I would still love to see him back in our lineup. Obviously, out season ending, so that really sucks there. Kelly agreed, really have found a solid and more accurate conversion kickers even for drop goals. We would have won at least 3 to 4 games. Goes to show how important a kicker is. Yeah, 100%. But, again, for me, I would just love to see us defensively hold teams down to where we don't have to rely on that too much. I know you can find yourself in those positions much, but as soon as you get into goal and point, it is a 50-50 game. Like, if you actually look at the amount of opportunities we had comparatively to the Dolphins and better opportunities, and then we got a 40-meter field goal just get snapped on us. That doesn't happen all the time. I would rather us not even get in that position to start off with. But again, totally agreed. Like, when we get to those points, we definitely do need the uptick in goal kicking and stuff like that. And we'll talk about Luke Metcalf and his performance in New South Wales Cup on the weekend because there's very positive signs there as a kicker and not just an in-game kicker, a goal kicker. There's a little bit going on there, but, we'll talk about that very, very shortly. I'll run through a couple more guys before we jump into, I want to talk about our resis and, our development and how that's going at the moment too. Taz, love the faith. Yeah, that's all we got, honestly, right? Like, we got hope and faith. It's the reason why, like, if you don't have hope and faith, I don't know why we would be following the Warriors, to be honest. Why you'd be following the Panthers or the Storm, right? But, yeah. All right, running through. Taz, is Crosby training with the first grade squad next season or is that a rumor? I've heard that he's definitely will be training with the first grade squad and I think that came out of his mouth to a person I was speaking to. So get excited for that. He definitely will be around the traps. Whether he will be a first grader like top 30, I don't think so. Not in one whole year. Like, we don't see that a lot. We still got Sifakulas, a lot of people like younger juniors that are definitely a little bit ahead of him, but he will be around our first grade squad training with the boys. Probably will get a development deal most likely. So get excited for his future. We probably, as I said, we won't see him probably for another year or two, maybe. But maybe, who knows? Like, the skill he possesses, he's definitely could be something, very special that we could have next year. Who knows? Jackie here. Here is a curveball. Clifford is apparently off contract with the Cows. He is 26, so entering his best years and has a massive long. Honestly, bro, so watching Jake Clifford coming through the grades, thought he was solid. Didn't think he was the most consistent halfback, and I don't think there's a lot of good halfbacks on the market at the moment that are as consistent. Like, I feel like that what we've got with Tomato Martinez, Luke Metcalf next season, I'm positive with. I want to give it a crack. I will talk about that a little bit more. The New South Wales Cup side, Luke Metcalf had a really good game, and he does actually possess a decent kicking game that maybe is overshadowed a little bit from him playing 6 and having a dominant kicker like Shawnee take over majority of the time. But I wouldn't touch Clifford, honestly. I wouldn't touch him. He's only just come back over the Super League. The Cowboys are probably going to re-offer him something now that obviously Chad Townsend has moved on from the club. It's either that or Tommy Dearden will end up stealing a 7 jersey and they'll bring up another 6 coming through. But for me, I wouldn't touch Jake Clifford at all. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. Joshua Hill, we were going to be a top 4 side with Metcalf and Johnson healthy. I couldn't say that with full, I couldn't be 100%, but we had some really good signs, obviously, to start the season with those boys in our lineup. Obviously, Johnson has always came out. Obviously, he's been dealing with injuries even with the preseason, so whether he was even going to be in great form majority of this year, we probably would have seen maybe Tomato Martin and Luke Metcalf for big moments of this year as well. So I think the injuries were going to come no matter what, but it would have been, it would have gave us maybe one of the better opportunities with the starting halves that we've actually started with this year. I know a lot of other teams complained that they didn't have their starting, half back this year. They're starting 6 this year. This year we've had that many different, combinations in that jersey. So it just happened that way. Jacko here, we will struggle to be a top 4 side next year, but can finish around 6 for sure. I agree, Jacko. I really do agree with this take. I think that I probably don't see us top 4 at the moment anymore. I do think that we can grow into a side to challenge in 2 to 3 more years. So I reckon we'll be around about. The first challenge obviously for us is to get back into the 8. So I feel like that's the first thing we need to tick off the list now before we start talking about top 4s and maybe winning premierships again. But I do believe that Webby, the group that we have, the consistency that we can grow from. I love our system that we play with. I feel like that can jump us into an 8 discussion, and that can really, add a couple of pieces, younger pieces that have a bit more promise maybe, will take us into maybe the promised land, hopefully in the future. That's what we're hoping for, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But I totally agree with you, bro. I totally agree. SC Warrior, AFB has been our most consistent player for the last 2 years and will lead the Sharks to a premiership. I wouldn't fully agree there. I agree he's probably been individually probably one of the most consistent this year. I think the last 2 years, I'd say I'd have Mitch Barnett probably up there, around about up there. I couldn't say Shawnee obviously after this year, but last year he was incredible. You probably have an argument for that, but again, I don't think he'll take the Sharkies to a premiership. I actually have a hot take. I don't think that he'll improve the Sharkies as much as what people probably think he will. I think statistically, he'll get them to where they need to be, but I think the Sharkies' leadership in the middle, he won't add that extra value. And this is kind of, I called out AFB middle this year for his leadership in big moments for us. I feel like he has lacked that for us this year, and that's not really, it's more of the fact of, I do believe that subconsciously, he knows that he's out the door anyway, and when big moments come, I don't think he's all the way there. Statistically, as an individual, he's absolutely incredible. As an attacking piece, he's fucking phenomenal. But the Sharkies' biggest down point in their career is defensively. They're adding another big body to their front rower pack. And we're starting to see the new era of football really become more smaller, mobile pack. We're going to become more of a mobile pack next year with Fisher Harris and Mitch Barnett, where the Sharkies are taking the opposite angle of, Thomas Hazelton, Royce Hunt, Hemu Nuele, and Adam Fanor-Blake. That's a major, really big forward pack. And I feel like we've seen some teams this year that have had some really big forward packs that have really struggled. So, not saying they'll miss the 8 next year. They've been fairly consistent of finding themselves in the 8, but for him to be the sole reason they get a premiership, I think there's more things going on with the Sharkies. They probably need to really find consistency with their halfback position, with their sets. I don't think Adam Fanor-Blake's completely the answer, but I think they're definitely, they're going to be a great attacking side. I can't disagree with that. He'll add the meterage that they'll probably need, but again, I don't think the Sharkies were missing that area in the first place. So that's just my thoughts anyway. That could be just a butthurt Warriors fan, who knows? But again, I'm very happy that we're going to get, Fisher Harris next year, building standards, leadership. But again, I also want to pay my respects to Adam Fanor-Blake, who has been one of our best, attacking pieces over the last couple of years. He has definitely been, when he's been fully committed to us, been one of our shining lights. He's been absolutely incredible and possibly one of our greatest props of all time. We have a couple of really good ones up there, but he'd be around about, I wouldn't push back on a lot of people saying no, you know what I mean? Again, guys, I'm probably getting nailed down a lot more with the questions here, but I do apologize. Obviously, no Levon tonight, so that's really where I'm at. Kurt Fleming, has mental toughness been an issue this year? I would say, yeah. I really would say there. I think that there has been some disruptions this year with the group, and that has really pushed us a little bit backwards than what we thought was going to happen this year. Like, as I said, I think with the last year, we had such a close-knit group because of a game that brought us all together. We ended up going on a massive run, and we did what we did, and that was great signs. Like, it was amazing for what we did last year. It just proves that a rugby league side needs everyone on the same page, come together as a group. A couple of those people end up leaving. You know, a couple of people wanted to leave to us due to personal reasons, end up leaving. You know, Josh Curran obviously wanted to move back home. That's the reason why Josh Curran moved, and it would have been good to still have Josh Curran at the club, but it is what it is. And then Adam Fanor-Blake, obviously, to start the season, rocked the club by saying that he wanted to move back home as well. And I think we all were looked into that and was like, that's going to rock us a little bit this year, but I don't think we took a lot of thought into that. I think that we thought we could overcome that. Unfortunately, I don't think we could have. I don't think we did. That's just hindsight thinking. I would have loved to see us see the opposite way, and maybe a couple of games would have went differently. Maybe I'd say something totally different. But just looking from as a fan's point of view, I think that's actually hurt us more than what we actually give credit for at the moment. And which SJ injuries, and just name the list, bro. Honestly, just name the list. Jackie here, agreed Sharkies have enough middles, they need something else. Yeah, just as a touchline, I think it's going to be incredible for him again, but I just feel another big body middle, I don't think that's going to really help him overall. I think that's just it's going to, a lot of people are like, yeah, he's going to be incredible, but we've seen that a lot of other teams are starting to go small ball. You look at the Panthers, they're two props in the middle. They're big boys, but they're not big boys, right? And consistently they take it to every other pack in the competition and they dominate packs. Fisher Harris started off as an edge back rower, moved to the middle, play the way he is. Isaiah Yeo started on the edge, moved to the middle. They're not the biggest pack in the world, but they dominate packs out there defensively. The Doggies are starting to notice that they're not a big pack, but they dominate packs through the middle as well, defensively more so than not. So we're trying to follow that same mold, and next year with Fisher Harris coming in, we'll probably see Sifikula get a little bit more minutes. That's why I don't really think I don't really agree that we need to go into the market. I really think that we can grow from within. We got money there too, guys. SJ leaving with retirement, we've got a lot of money that we probably could maybe bring someone over. If there's anyone on the market like a Griffin Neem and stuff like that, I don't think he'll leave. Leo Thompson, I don't think he'll leave. But those are the pieces where I'd be I'd lean towards maybe a good half. If there's a great halfback on the market that wants to come to New Zealand, maybe. But again, I feel like that we can grow from within and grow some really decent pieces. I think we're going to, obviously, Jet Cleary is what a lot of people are hoping for is going to be our next halfback, future proof. But Luke Metcalf has really came out and said he wanted to be a halfback, and I saw a lot of good signs. I heard a lot of good signs over the weekend. I saw a lot of good signs too in trials and over the couple of weeks of New South Wales Cup. So that's just my thoughts. All right, Chris. Again, guys, I keep saying this. I'll do a couple more, and then we'll start talking about Rezzies. Then we'll go through our team list. Hey, we'll go through all that. So. Evening all. The good thing is about SJ is we can move on and look forward. I'm really excited now on, without SJ, our young guns have a massive opportunity to steal a 7th spot. Yeah, agreed. Sad, as you see, I'm one of the biggest SJ fans of all time. As you guys all know, he's one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, I became a Warriors fan to start off with. He opened up the door for me to become a Warriors fan. But I would also say that he's maybe carrying a lot of the scars from past as well. I do believe that we are starting to turn the corner as a Warriors organization. We've had a lot of really bad years there, up and down years, consistency-wise. It's just the way it is. Webby is slowly trying to wean that stuff out of the club, and not saying that he weaned SJ out of the club. I don't think SJ was that problem, but I feel like he's wanting to bring everyone together and be more of a team and learn as a system, bring New Zealand Rugby League up together and not just have the Warriors on a pedestal, have just a whole organization up as a pedestal, if that makes sense to you. Harold Matz, SG Ball, our juniors are starting to click into gear now. That's going to pay dividends for the future and not carry the same scars as what SJ had to carry throughout all those years. Even Tohu with those COVID years, Adam Fanor-Blake with those COVID years. There's a lot of key pieces that have really carried a lot of scars of inconsistency, disappointment, stuff like that of those years. I think we're going to become a new side. But I hope that's more hope talking, but we'll have to see how it turns out. That's just my thoughts anyway. All right. Any other really key ones here, guys? No. Yeah, Tristan, I agree. We've seen a lot worse, but I feel like the expectation is what probably hurt a lot of people in this one. And like, it's been a poor season, bro. We can't sugarcoat it, but we'll move on from it, eh? All right. Rata was out. Yep. All right, beautiful, guys. All right, so quickly before we move on to our team list and out of the weekend, I want a quick little breakdown, a little touch on obviously the New South Wales Cup game of the weekend, and also we had our jersey flag get up over the weekend too. So I do definitely really want to touch on that. But also shout out to Tamaki Warrior on Instagram, guys. Go check him out on Instagram. Really amazing content. Does a lot of work for our New South Wales Cup side and that. But he was the one that gave me a little bit of an update while I was live at the actual NRL game about New South Wales Cup and our jersey flag side. He was there live in the flesh and he gave me a really good rundown. So first of all, I want to touch about the flag side because out of the two, it probably wasn't the most, like, you know, the big, like the star of the show was obviously Crosby, Toby Crosby, Tobias Crosby, an absolute freak of nature. We've all seen the highlight. We all seen him just dominate the Rabbitohs out there. He definitely got the 3-2-1, but a really good win, 22-10 over the Rabbitohs in this one. A gritty end-to-end first half. Final 20 was all Warriors. So really good signs from our Jersey Flag boys. They haven't been the most consistent side this year. They have been plucked and played from our New South Wales team, especially with the amount of injuries we've had in first grade. So we've had inconsistencies at flag as well. Been very up and down this season, but a really good win, and we're starting to notice a couple of really good juniors. So Vake is another guy we got to watch out for. He played a centre in our SG Ball side. He had a little bit about him when I saw him there. I've spoken to a lot of Warriors fans out there. They've seen him a lot more in flag these days, and they've been like, yeah, he's been okay. We'll have to see how he goes. I think there's still something there. A couple of really good pieces there. Also a notable mention he wanted to bring up to the promising debut from Filipino. So really watch out for that name. Malachi Filipino. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. I really do apologize. A Balangi male trying to pronounce these names. I'm so sorry. But really good signs. Toby Crosby is definitely the big key piece there. A front row to do what he did, a coast to coast in the NRL, like not in the NRL, in Jersey Flag, against some really promising pieces there. Amazing performance from him overall. So now I want to touch on, obviously, our New South Wales Cup team. The big name that we all wanted to hear. We obviously saw that Luke Metcalf end up getting the 7 jersey over in Cup. So he played a full game, number 7, running the team around in Cup, end up getting a 28-10 win over the Rabbitohs. I would want to caveat that the Rabbitohs have not been a great team in Cup this year, but they had a lot of ins that came into this one. Isaac Thompson, we all know from NRL, he played this game here. I'm pretty sure they had Dean Hawkins we saw in, obviously, first grade this year. Leonard Skelton's a really good, promising up and coming for the Rabbitohs. So they haven't been an amazing side, but obviously I really do. I think they're a bottom 3 side in New South Wales Cup, but still a good win, a very dominant win from our boys out there. So Tamaki ended up coming and said, Luke Metcalf putting a clinic on, pinpoint kicking. He ended up slotting a 40-20, which is really good to hear. You know, out there, I know a lot of people have questions around our kicking game coming into next year. He's got a little bit of a kicking game. As I do say, like, go check out our trial form too, guys. He ended up getting, he played a lot more dominant minutes in our Tigers game this year. And then last year was more so in the Tigers game as well. So go check that out. He definitely has an underrated kicking game to him. Probably still can develop in that area for sure. But really good signs here. 40-20 in this matchup. Majority of the try assists in this game. I think he ended up having 3 try assists in this game from memory. Unreal performance and slotting sideline conversions. So obviously a key piece that we've all been waiting for this year, for a majority of this year. Obviously we lost him in the Knights game, which was 3 or 4 games in. Really unfortunate there, but he's starting to really come back into form. He's still got the zipping speed that we all know and love out of him as well, from what I've seen in Cup as well. So get excited for Luke Metcalf coming back into this lineup. Hopefully this week he's been naming the reserves. We'll wait and see my thoughts overall on that. But really good performance there too. Obviously Tamaki, he's 3-2-1s in this one. Iamia, the edge back row, really solid edge back row. He got the 3. Luke Metcalf got the 2. Zion Ma'u'u, who I think he ended up scoring the last try of the match. A really good game from him as well. Looking at his stats as well, I'll quickly give it to you guys so you guys get to understand. Leka Alasima played cup as well, so 159 run meters from Leka. Freak of nature that kid is. He's going to be incredible. Zion Ma'u'u, 124 meters, 53 post-contact meters with a line break. An absolute freak. 36 minutes from him. Leka played the full 80. So really, really good signs, obviously, from our cup side. And looking at our cup side this year, just going to go touch on the ladder. I'm pretty sure now we have actually cracked into that top 4. So we are top 4 this year in our New South Wales Cup side. So that's a little bit more positivity to what's going on at the moment with our team. Our first grade squad, not up there at the moment, but our New South Wales Cup side definitely has the potential to win New South Wales Cup this year. And I would love to see that with all our juniors that are in that base and really learn how to win together and bring that into first grade. I've been saying this for a little bit now. I think that that's the best way we can go about these sort of things. Seeing the Panthers, they've won, all their key pieces have won in their junior grades together. They've grown this group together and stepped up to the level. I think we can do a very similar things here with the Warriors. So get excited for the future there. Again, I know, Metcalf looks like he's going to be back in the lineup this week, but overall, I would wish that we actually strengthen our New South Wales Cup team as best as we can. So all those boys can come up together. They learn how to win together. And, it just doesn't have they don't have the scars of what happened this year. That's the biggest thing for me. I want to have all our juniors down there and really learn and get confidence. So when they come to first grade, we know they can take it up there. Like Sifakula, incredible performance for 10 minutes of what we saw over the weekend. We've seen a lot of him, the Panthers game last year. He was great in that game as well for the short stint that he was there too. Like Alasima definitely didn't look too far away from first grade. Looked like he stood out for a lot of people as well. He stood out for me for sure. He's an incredible piece. Laban has some really good moments as well. He had like a poor misread in the Titans game, but he's young. He'll have that. Ali, we've seen Ali Leotoa obviously have incredible games here in NRL as well. He was actually, over the weekend, as I did say, he ended up nearly breaking the game open with that big line break. Obviously, getting knocked out after dropping the ball over the line, but maybe if he didn't do that, he could have been the key piece to get us home. Who knows? But I think he had a really good performance. Grain Telfer, there's a lot of great juniors coming for our club, so I want some positivity out there with you guys. Get around the New South Wales Cup boys. They've got an opportunity to take out the premiership, even though we weren't able to in first grade. But these boys have got some real talent, and we can definitely push this all the way through to the end of the season. So get excited for that. I just want to touch on that, guys, because I know a lot of guys obviously just watched the first grade squad and really disappointed with how everything's turned out, which is fair. But overall, as an organization, I continue to say it's showing a lot of really great, moments together. And I'm pretty sure our cup side defensively, we're fairly good. We've had a couple of games we've fallen off the pace a little bit, but majority of those games we end up holding teams within that that 20 to 10 mark, which is a really, really good sign for the future there. All right, so with that been and said and done, let's move over to our massive team list of the weekend for a huge game against the Manly Seagulls. So obviously, coming into this game, I'm not the most confident. We don't play amazing football against Manly in our best times, but again, still the team that we named on paper, I'm fairly confident in that they can do a job. They won't get blown out significantly, hopefully. But I'm really, really excited, obviously, to see SJ back in that 7 role. I love Tamate Martin there. I thought Tamate Martin played a really good game over the weekend. He warmed into the game for me. And then as soon as he started to really find his combinations, I thought he had a really solid crack out there. A couple of try assists, 3 try assists in that game, 3 or 4. The short kicking game was there. But Sean Johnson is back. Obviously, farewell tour. We get to see Sean Johnson back in that 7 jersey. That's really, really exciting. So running to top to bottom, Chance Nickel-Coxtag. We got Dallin Watene Zelezniak. We've got Adam Pompey. Good to see Adam Pompey back there. So now we've got Adam Pompey, our kicker there, and also Luke Metcalf's here in reserves too, and Tanger Biggies in reserves as well. Those are all better kickers than Shania Harris-Tavita. Those are all our. So Luke was our, Shawnee's our first, second, third. These are all our other kickers have all come in at one whole time. So, it's crazy how this world works, right? It really is. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck stays in that center position. Marcelo Montoya at that number 5. Great to see Mars back on the wing. Showed a lot of energy and effort in the games that we saw him in prior. Obviously going down with a groin injury, but back. Really, really good to see. Shania Stavida and Sean Johnson have been named in the halves, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chanel maybe drops to a 14 jersey or maybe even drops out of the side. Luke Metcalf comes in. A lot of rumors. Obviously, Luke has moved over into moved over with the boys, gone on the plane. So really, really excited to see maybe if he gets the 6 jersey there. I wouldn't be too far against maybe seeing him or not seeing him. I would love to see him maybe lead our New South Wales Cup into a premiership. I would love to see that. But also I would love to see him back in first grade as well and have that first choice combination that we wanted to start with Sean Johnson, Chance Nickel-Crossack, Luke Metcalf. Adam Fanor, Blake, Mitch Barnett, our usual front rows stay up front. Wade Egan, he is a asterisk, and next to his name, he's actually had an elbow injury. So as Webby usually does, he'll probably hold him there. We'll have to see who ends up taking that jersey. A couple of names, obviously. Freddie Lussick will be in that 14. He'll probably go into that number 9. That's why I do think Shania Stavida will go back into the 14 jersey here for me. Obviously, our edge back rows, we got Martin Kode and we got Kurt Capewell. And in the third team, we got Dylan Walker. I'm pretty sure with the, sin bin from last week, I think he only copped a fine from that. So he will be lining up this weekend in that 13 jersey. In the interchange, Freddie Lussick, Tom Ale, Jazzy Tovonga, and we've got Dimitri Sifakula for another round. Really, really excited to see Dimitri Sifakula get a little bit more minutes this week, hopefully. But again, with the way these team lists are named, we're not too sure. 24 hours out, Webby could definitely switch a lot of things up going on here. And the one key switch I do see, Wade Egan falling out of the lineup, Freddie Lussick going into number 9, and seeing obviously Luke Metcalf go into 6, Shania Stavida go into that 14 jersey. Any other names I probably could see maybe pushing for a spot here? Leka Alasima could be looking for a little spot there, but I don't see Tom Ale or Jazzy Tavanga falling out of those jerseys. Out of those two, I would probably say Tom Ale has probably been a little bit underwhelming this year in moments, so I would have Leka probably a little bit ahead of him at the moment in my opinion. But as a middle forward, Leka's not majority a middle forward, he's an edge back rower, so I probably would see that Webby sticks with Tom Ale in that 15 jersey. That's just my thoughts overall. Going up against a very, very strong Seagulls side. I will be talking about more of the stats a little bit later on, but Tommy Turbo, Jason Saab, Tommy Dalal in that number 3 jersey. Really good center. I'm pretty sure he played there last week as well. Lehigh Hopawate is an incredible talent for them. I'm really, really excited to see another little opportunity for him out there on the wing. Ruben Garrick, Luke Brooks, DCE. Like this side, top to bottom, is a really, really strong stack side. So we have to be on our game overall to come up against these Manly Seagulls. So quickly, guys, comment down below your thoughts overall on the side, who your changes overall, what's your thoughts, and now I'll start we might go through our combined 17, and then we'll filter in my thoughts overall on this weekend's game. What we got? Tristan Metcalf did say he's loving it here. If we hand him the 7 jersey he's been wanting for long enough and convince him to stay long term. Everything's positive from what I hear out of Luke Metcalf, so I don't see him maybe looking for elsewhere. But things do change quickly in NRL. But yeah, I don't see him really going elsewhere. I think we've given him pretty much everything he wants at the moment. Jacko here, Lussick on the bench again. Will he get any more minutes? The splinters his butt sitting watching. Bro, I really do think he'll be starting this week. I don't think that Wade Egan, from what I saw over the weekend, that elbow injury didn't look too great, but I think he did end up finishing out the game too. So, it's a tough one. But again, like I would probably prefer at the moment with the way like Wado battered and bruised, I'll probably go Freddie Lussick in that number 9 and Shania Stavida in that 14. Wade Egan's fit and healthy. He's got number 9 for sure. But at the moment, what I saw at the weekend, that was a pretty harsh little elbow extension. I thought, Brody, my mate, as we know from Down Unders, he thought it was dislocated. So tough one, that one. Tough one, that one. Chris, this is a team lineup is about 15 rounds too late. Agreed, bro. With the amount of injuries we've had, that back line could have been our starting back line this year. Actually, for our, my predicted team list, guys, this was my predicted team list to start the year. And this is how far away we've gone away from this. Due to injury this year, obviously Shania Stavida wasn't my 6. I had Metcalf as a 6. If that changed, I'm pretty sure from top to bottom, this was fairly close to being my predicted 13 to start the season. Obviously, Dylan Walker was off the bench and Tohu was there. And Murata, I think, was off the bench. And then we had Jackson Ford in there. But there was not too many other changes there. It's crazy how many changes we got back into our lineup. And it's also crazy how many injuries we've actually had this season. Greg Cook, yes, I also look forward to the next New South Wales Cup boys game as well, as they're a really good team up the Waz. Agreed. I wish they obviously televised a lot more New South Wales Cup. It sucks when you get the app and you end up, not getting every single game in New South Wales Cup. That sucks the most, but it would be great to see, obviously, the boys go out there and, take out a premiership in New South Wales Cup. I really do think that would be a massive thing for our organisation overall. Tristan, even if we were sitting first, right, I would still be nervous facing Manly right now. Agreed, bro. When I did my run home, I think this is a game no matter what. I just kept picking lose. But then again, been us this season, this could be a game where we pull something out of the hat. But I really struggle to see it the way the Seagulls are playing at the moment. But I would love to see it, bro. I would love to see it. Jacko, if Metcalf gets a halfback spot, I think he will be here long term. Agreed. Tempo, is it still possible to make the 8? I did see a little post saying mathematically there's a chance. I don't think so anymore, my man. I think that's probably dead and gone. I do see the Broncos have got a little bit of hope saying that they could make the 8. I probably say they're probably close to dead and gone. I do think it's around the Dragons, the Dolphins. I think Newcastle can maybe make a push, but I'm still not even that high on Newcastle this year either. So for me, probably the Dolphins or Dragons are the two teams that could really fight it out in the 8 for me. I think our opportunity is probably dead and gone. Mathematically, I think there is a slight opportunity, but I really don't see it this year. I think we should just obviously try to, get pride back in a jersey and see what next year brings, obviously, overall. Tons. Okay, Webby reckons 1 to 17 won't necessarily look like that on the end of the day. I'm calling Metcalf to partners. Yeah, agree, Tons. Yeah, we know Webby. That's just the way it is. But it will be Metcalf in that 6 jersey, I think. Yeah, Jacko agreed. Yeah, no, we're not there. Want to see Big Siffer get more minutes. He looked awesome. Agreed. I do think that, as we're talking on lock forwards that, I probably didn't nail down this point. I was probably, jumping to different players that could step up here. I probably say that 13 jersey for the future maybe has his name written on it. If not, he'll be up around that, off that front row rotation. But he's got the ability to play that 13 role. He actually came through the juniors as a lock forward, played on the edge for a little period as well. He's got really nice hands too. So, but I love him more so as just that damaging, aggressive ball runner, as we saw over the weekend. That man's just got an attitude, and I love that as a Warriors fan. He just gives me the hope for the future is really, really bright for sure. Jacka here, maybe drop Jazz and give Lecca another run. Yeah, I think with Jazzy's last year, I know a lot of people will probably disagree with this too. And I know a lot of people probably disagree with giving Shawnee the run out home too. But I think obviously everything's dead and gone for us. I would probably just give Jazzy the rest of the run home. Give him as much opportunities, with the squad. I agree. I would probably love to see Lecca in first grade, maybe get a little bit more minutes up there, but I'm not there or against, Jazzy being in the side overall. I think out of it, Tom Arley for me has been fairly disappointing this season. I'd probably have him, but if you're going to argue because Jazzy's leaving us, I can see that point as well, bro, but I don't really have a hill to die on that little thought there. Dylan Brown to the Waz. Love the comment, same as the name. I don't see it, bro. And to be honest, I think, I know that we are in a bit of halves, I wouldn't say crisis at the moment, but a lot of people will be looking at halves. I don't want Dylan Brown at the Warriors, to be completely honest. I think he'll be on wanting a lot of money. I think at the moment, if we can restructure a salary cap into being a positive without giving a lot of these boys some really big dollars. I think Dylan Brown's an incredible piece, an incredible talent, but I don't think he's the half that's going to take us into the new era. I don't think he's a halfback. I think he's a great 6. That's just my opinion. But, defensively, he's fucking unreal and he could fix that side of things as well. But I think that the pieces that we have now could do enough of a job to get us on that level. I think a game steering half is what a lot of people do want though. And I don't think Dylan Brown is that piece, but definitely think he's an incredible talent. Jazzy, I'd probably like Wade rested, agreed. CHT at 14, agreed. Freddie at 9, agreed. Mets at 6, 100%. SJ, 7, the bro Tomato Martin and Cup to help the boys out there. The rumor going around on Tomato Martin, I've seen a lot of rumors in comment section. Apparently he's having a neck soreness. There's just rumors in comment sections, guys. I haven't heard anything official from the club. I haven't heard anything from any birdies around the club either. But I've just seen that in comment sections out also. I wonder where they're getting that from. But I don't think he's been named for the cup jersey. I don't think the cup side's been named yet. I'll just quickly check before I run through our combined 13, combined 17. But I don't think our cup side's been named yet. We go draw. We'll go into our New South Wales Cup. And if it has, we'll have to see. It has been named. So Luke Metcalf is still the 7 in New South Wales Cup. And there's no Tamade Martin to be seen on reserves or anything. Tane Tuapiki, Setutu, Moala, Graham Tolfa, Ben Farr, Basikala, Luke Hanson, Luke Metcalf, so on and so forth. So there's still even, the opportunity that Luke Metcalf may not play first grade this weekend, but I probably would see that we probably end up seeing Luke Metcalf. That's a lot of, thoughts around that. So, Seagulls actually have a decent little New South Wales Cup side there. Obviously, you got Brad Abbey, a very surprising name at number 7. I never thought I'd ever see the day that he played number 7. Jackson Borlo, Brad Parker, some really, really solid names there. Matt Lodge, Aaron Woods. Aaron Woods on the other side of his career. So he hasn't been named in Cup, guys. Definitely wait around for that sort of news because I know that Cup sides can change even if they're not in reserve. So Tamade Martin could just slot in out of nowhere. But I have heard something around his neck injury, something around a neck, so I'm not too sure. Was about Dylan? Yeah, definitely agree. Kelly, I know it's SJ's farewell, but why drop Tamade Martin? He's been a number 1 playmaker. Again, as I said before, there has apparently been neck soreness. I would say that it's, as a club for a legend like Sean Johnson, our season's fairly dead and gone. It's probably not, you could argue that it could hurt us. You could argue it's not, but I would love to see Sean Johnson run out for the rest of the year with this team and, see what he can do. I think that with Sean Johnson, with nothing else to play, nothing to lose, go out there. These are the last games of the season. You'll probably see the best out of SJ for these last, couple of weeks. So for me, I'd love to see him run out of the season next year. Tamade Martin's definitely going to be that 7. That's just my opinion. But yeah. We actually, Jazzy, did you agree with Ash or something? Oh, Jacko agrees sometimes. Jacko's pretty good. Yeah, good man. Joe Richard. Yeah, just got home. Appreciate you coming through, Richard. Thank you so much to jump through. Hey, Jacko, it's all good to have a different opinion too, eh? That's just, it's what makes content as well. I get to talk about it, I get to talk my thoughts, you get to hear my thoughts, and you get to see your thoughts. So that's the way it all works. All right, guys, let's move over to our combined 17. So as you guys know, usually when we have a couple of people here, we probably debate a little bit more who's going to be our combined 17 for this weekend. But I'm going to run through my thoughts overall for combined 17 for this matchup here. So obviously the first big matchup, we got Tommy Turbo versus CNK. Obviously for me, I couldn't find any other way. It's got to be Tommy Turbo. It has to be. Tommy Turbo is an incredible fullback. He's got well more potential. Both of them have injury problems for sure. But yeah, Tommy Turbo is definitely the better fullback out of the two. Moving on to the wingers. Obviously, we got Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. We'll do something different as one, guys. We'll do a combination of wingers here. So we got Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, Marcelo Montoya, Jason Saab, or Lehigh Hopewati. So Lehigh being so young, he's got such high potential. I would probably just push him a little bit out of the side just for now, but he's definitely got a ton of potential. So now, making a wing combination here, I would possibly go Dallin Watene-Zelezniak and Jason Saab for me. Comment down below your thoughts on that overall, but that's just my thoughts at the moment. Before I jump on that, Nas, since Volkman's contract broke down with the Saints, where is he now? he is still without a contract at the moment. I think the RLPA are fighting for his rights, maybe trying to get money out of the situation there from both the Dragons and the Warriors. So hopefully he's doing well out there. As I know, like obviously I got family ties to Ronnie. I would love to see Ronnie in a Warriors jersey, but he did want to move home before this. That was all the rumors coming out. We heard these rumors for a little while now. I didn't hear these rumors personally. Obviously the bros and all that wanted to keep that away from a Warriors fan overall, but rumors from a lot of big names around, big content creators around, they did hear that Ronald Volkman did want to leave the Warriors and he wanted to move back home. So I don't think that obviously he dropped out of the contract to move to the Dragons. He was the one that ended the contract, and that's the whole situation, the way that saga went. I feel for him 100%. I really do feel for him. Now, what I do know, Jacko is, I'm pretty sure he's searching legal aid at the moment for everything. It's definitely not been a good time for him, and he's definitely dealt with some mental things from this. So hopefully he does well, because we all agree, like me and Jacko, again, a lot of people say me and Jacko definitely agree. Like Ronald Volkman for me was our next halfback for the future. Like he was incredible for me. I saw a lot of great things out of him, but that was just me. Maybe it was also because I had a little bit of family ties to him, but yeah. So for me, my wingers, 2 guys combined, 17 here. We're going Dallin Watene, Zalesniak, and on the opposite side, we're going to go Jason Saab. I think that would definitely be the combination for me. Moving into our centers, we got Tommy Talau, Ruben Garrick, Adam Pompey, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. For me, out of those centers here, it's a tough one. I'd probably say Ruben Garrick has to play center for me here. So we're going to go Garrick there, and we're probably going to go out of the rest of them, Pompey, Roger, Talau. Oh, this one's tough. For me, it's out of Roger or Pompey. And as a center, I would probably just sway the way of Pompey, just more of the consistency at the moment. Even though I still believe that Roger can be a really good center, but at the moment, I'll go Pompey in that center position. Moving on to the halves, we're going to go, we got Sean Johnson, Shanaris Tavita, Daly Cherry Evans or Luke Brooks. For me, we'll probably chuck Luke Metcalf in the mix here too. That makes it even tougher too. I would probably say Daly Cherry Evans and Sean Johnson for me. I know Shawnee's probably had one of his worst seasons this season, but I'll give him my flowers. I think that if he was fully healthy, he'd be thereabouts. And DC, I think that's an incredible combination there. DC plays a lot like a 6 as well. He plays great 7 as well, but he does have like 6 tendencies. So either one could steal a 6 jersey, but that's definitely going to be my hardest pairing out of these two. Moving up top, we're going to go to hooker. We're going to jump all these guys, go to hooker first of all. So we got Lockie Croker, Wade Egan, or we'll throw up Freddie Lussick because he'll probably be the guy to push in for Wade Egan most likely from my thoughts this weekend. If Wade Egan was fit and ready and healthy and ready to go, I would go Wade Egan over Lockie Croker. I think Lockie Croker's better kicking game, but I think every other aspect of Wade Egan's game is better than Lockie Croker. But that could be a little bit of bias. I'm not too sure. So I'm going to go Wade Egan in that number 9 jersey for me. Can Pomp drop goal, Richard? Maybe. He's a talented man. He possibly can. Yeah, we got SJ that can do that too. Yeah, good to see a lot of love there for Volkman. Yeah, Richard, Saab is so fast and also, open, yeah. And there's been a lot of talk, obviously, in the 100-meter race at the end of this year. They're going to try and do one of those. Sabi, for me, is the one to take that out. For sure. He is a different athlete, man. All right, moving to our front row pairing. Out of these front rows here, we got Adam Fanor-Blake, Taniela Paseka. We got Mitch Barnett or Josh Aloiai. Ooh, for me, it'd probably be Adam Fanor-Blake and Mitch Barnett for me. I think Taniela Paseka has potential to be a great prop in the game, just inconsistency. I have him around it, like probably not on the same level as Stefano, but close about, big bodies that have high potential. Josh Aloiai has just a little bit more penalties in it for me, inconsistency. Defensively, he's actually fairly all right. But again, just errors, penalties, suspensions. They'll just sway away from him. I'm going to go Adam Fanor-Blake and Mitch Barnett for my 2 props in the middle. So AFB. And the big dog, Mitch Barnett. Barney, probably the warrior here, guys. Do we all agree? I'd probably say Barnett's been the warrior of this year. Moving to edge back rollers, we got Homole Olekowatu and we got Murata Nikore. Both those guys play on the right side. I would all day go for big Ola Kowatu. An absolute freak. The other edge, we got Carl Lawton and Kurt Catewell. I think Carl Lawton's actually done a really decent job on the edge, but I would sway the way of Kurt Catewell in that matchup there. We're going Catewell. In that number 13 jersey, we got Jake Trbojevic or we got Dylan Walker. I would go Jakey. Jakey on form, leader-wise, I think Jake Trbojevic is a gun in the middle defensively. Attacking-wise, probably doesn't give a lot to offer, and I think that's why Dylan Walker probably takes to the mantle in that position there. But I think leadership qualities, I think Dylan Walker does an amazing job around the club for us, but I would say Gerbo, what we've seen on the big stages, Origin, stuff like that, defensively, Gerbo is on a different level in my opinion. So we're going to go Gerbo there. And then moving on to our bench makeup, guys. Obviously, we got two benches here. Gordon Chan-Kum-Tong, Ben Trbojevic, Ethan Bullimore, Nathan Brown, and on our bench, Freddie Lussick, Tom Ale, Jazzy Devonga, and Dimitri Sifakula. After the weekend, we're going Sifa, bro. We're going Sifa all day. We're going Sifa all day. We also would chuck in there, I rate Ethan Bullimore. I really do like Ethan Bullimore. So we're going to go Bullimore here. Next one, we got Nathan Brown, Ben Trbojevic, Gordon Chan-Kum-Tong, Freddie Lussick, Tom Ale, or Jazzy Devonga. I'd say if we go Nathan Brown or Jazzy Devonga, I'm going Jazzy Devonga. Ben Trbojevic is a tough one though. We got 2 spots left. I probably would look at Jazzy Devonga and Ben Trbojevic for me. Probably not the best bench makeup. We probably do need a hooker on the bench for our combined, but it is, especially when we got Wade Egan at number 9. But we're just going to go with it, huh? And Ben Trbojevic. Burbo definitely has taken a little bit of time to get into first grade. Showed some moments there too. He probably could be the one to fall out for maybe either Freddie Lussick or Chan-Kum-Tong, but I think that he's definitely got a little bit more potential than those boys there. What do you reckon, Tristan? Good pick so far. Love that. Jacko Walker has been awesome for late. I never knew he was so tough. Agreed. He's been incredible. He, bumps and bruises. He's playing for them all. He is unreal. Jazzy, fucking Nathan Brown, eh? At one stage, I was hoping he'd come to the Warriors. Actually, I think he's been an amazing buy for the Seagulls this season. I think he's really, really solid. So, yeah, bro, really, really, really happy for him, eh? Really, really happy for him. Yeah, hearty as, bro. 100%. 100%. Chuck here, that young Tong is great to watch. Built like a... Yeah, I love the way he uses... he's actually really deceptive out of dummy half. I love what I saw from him in the Samoa Internationals at the Pacific Championship. I thought he was really, really solid there. I actually thought he would have got the 14 jersey earlier on this season, but it took him a little bit of time to get that jersey. But he's been really, really good for them, in my opinion. So, gotta love, old Gordy, but... Yeah, I obviously, for me, I'll probably go with that sort of setup there. So, guys, moving through our team here, we got, obviously, Turbo is our fullback for the weekend. We got Jason Saab, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak as our wingers. Bumpy and Garrick, I think there's some really good options there. Ruben Garrick, for me, I'll probably put the goal kicking on old Rubes. He's an incredible goal kicker. DC, Sean Johnson is halves in the middle. You could probably argue, at the moment, if you're going to go on form, Luke Metcalf come back, probably DC, Luke Metcalf would be a crazy good halves pairing as well, but we're going with the old veterans here, DC, SJ. Through the middle, this forward pack's incredible. Adam Fanor-Blake, Mitch Barnett, Ola Kowatu, Capewell, Gerbo. There's a mixture of experience here with Gerbo, Barnett, Capewell, and just absolute attacking freaks in Adam Fanor-Blake and Ola Kowatu. Incredible, incredible. And hooker at the top, we got old Wade Egan up there. The ruck deception when you got Turbo, when you got, Jason Saab out in the wings, you got even the big boys for the middle. I think that's an incredible little forward pack there. Moving on to the bench, Sifakula, Bullymore, Jazzy Tavanga, and Burbo. So probably not the greatest bench of all time there with the bench makeup overall, but I think Sifakula, obviously with the potential that he has, Bullymore, an absolute workhorse off the bench. Jazzy Tavanga, we all know what he brings, pretty much out little Nathan Brown, and Burbo, definitely more on potential with Burbo. Probably hasn't hit those levels just yet, but that's just my thoughts overall on that side. So what are your thoughts overall on the side, guys? Comment them down below. Kelly, true, Ash. SJ does deserve it, especially, you know, for what he's done at a club and in New Zealand Rugby League. Agreed. Yeah, just want to have that Panther mentality at a club that James Fisher-Harris is coming with. I cannot wait for it next year. And like, you know, the biggest positive I'm holding out last year, I know I keep going back and forth. That's the team list, guys. We'll go back to my little solo screen here. But for me, what's making me really excited for next year is we saw obviously what Critter has brought to, you know, the Doggies, and, you know, Critter's an incredible player. He's definitely attacking wise, you know, defensively, he's an incredible player, playing out at center. His leadership there at center has done that. We're going to get that Panthers leadership of Fisher-Harris in the middle. And that's something to be really excited for, especially if you think of this year. You know, the big key thing we've been down on this year is defense, and that's Fisher-Harris's game. That's his bread and butter. So I'm excited for that next year for sure. Yes, Jacko. Yes, 100%. Expect fireworks, boys. It's going to be a good little matchup there. Yeah, pre-game Fallon. Yeah, I was just touching on it a little bit before, but yeah, it does look like that. Apparently, this is all by comment sections too, guys. I don't think it's been fully confirmed by anyone just yet. Not that I've seen while I've been live, but yeah, it does look like that he has some neck pains. Well, if Tomato Mutton out on comes a Metcalf, not a bad thing. Agreed. Warriors all the way, Warriors all day, baby. Let's go, Gregory. Let's go, Greg. Hopefully Jazz doesn't think the hell of it. I'm out here, start throwing punches, ends off with the field. Yeah, I hope not. But yeah, both big fiery characters. All right, guys, to end off the stream, it's been an incredible stream tonight, guys. Thank you so much for all coming through, helping me along. Obviously, no Levon tonight, but it's been really cool just to chat with you guys. As you do know, I will be recording this video too. The audio will be up a little bit later on. As I did say, we are using a new software here. It's actually just running off my PC here, so I'm recording this in the background. I will try to convert that, put it in MP3. It will be up on our Spotify too, guys, if you want to listen to it back. Or if you're YouTube listeners, guys, re-watching on the stream, as you all know, you will. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content so far, guys. Incredible viewership tonight. Great chat. You guys are absolutely incredible. Let's go through my thoughts overall coming into this game over the weekend. So again, like, you know, as we kind of touched on before, I knew this was probably going to be a tough game to start with, even with our run home. This is a game I circled as a loss for us. You know, I'm going to try and stay as hopeful as possible that we can maybe pull something out of the fire here, but I think it might be a little bit too tough for Manly at 4 points. We all know Manly at 4 points, they grow another leg. They've taken the Melbourne Storm at 4 points, and they have some really good success there with some top teams. No matter who comes to 4 points, they usually do struggle under that crowd. Just the aura that the Manly Seagulls have at Brookie, like it's something different. So coming into this game, as you do know, I love to go by 3-game averages. Our 3-game averages are very skewed because we've had that many different combinations, but it still shows, you know, some sort of a story here. So 26.6 points per game we are scoring currently right now in the last 3 games. With that, you know, our overall is actually 21.6. We're uptick in attack. So we're actually, you know, we sit 10th in attack in the competition. We have an uptick at the moment at 26.6, which is actually fairly good. But defensively, 26.6 conceded. So we run basically even at the moment. So defensively is really the area I really want us to key in on, especially this weekend going into a high velocity attack, as in the Manly Seagulls. You got Jason Saab on the edge. You got Lehigh Hopewadi, who's got a ton of talent. Ruben Garrick, that can do something out of nothing as well. Tommy Trbojevic is the main key man. It's like, bro, you got to watch out for him out back. But then when you're watching him, you're watching DC going short to Ola Kawatu. There's so many different moving pieces to this Manly Seagulls attack. So defensively, we're going to be on our toes. That worries me a lot. But hopefully the boys can really come together in such a tough game. Sean Johnson running home now, coming into the end of his career now. Let's do something incredibly special. Moving over to the Manly Sea Eagles, they are actually scoring well over their average at the moment. 38 points per game scoring. They're an incredible attacking outfit at the moment. Just on average, they are overall this season 26.5 points per game. That's his third. So they're the third best attacking side in the competition. And defensively, they've been actually a little bit poorer defensively than they have been through majority of this year. 22 points per game in their last 3 games. Their usual average is 20.8. So they are a little bit uptick defensively. They are conceding just a touch more. But even then, they're still, a side that loves to go gun for gun. And they definitely have all the weapons in the duffel bag coming into this weekend when you see a lot of their backline there. So the defense, they actually sit around 6th. My score prediction for this weekend, I would probably say it's going to be another high scorer. I think that coming off the Dolphins game of the weekend, I think it's probably going to be a shootout. I hope it doesn't turn out that way, but going up against Manly, it's probably going to end up turning out that way. So I could probably see us maybe hitting hopefully around that 30 mark. This is more of a hopeful tip. I do think that Manly, going with the head, I think Manly probably have enough to get over the top of us. So I probably would say Manly hitting that. I'm going to go Warriors. Whoa. I'm going to go Manly 34 to Warriors 30. And that's more hopeful. And again, guys, this is a really, really tough game to really think about. I think Manly got so much versatility with their attack, and defensively, with SJ back in the lineup, we have suffered defensively, especially there. I do hope we go there and we absolutely, give it to Manly and we really take it to them. But, I've just seen that many times that Manly Sea Eagles turn up at 4 points, and it does worry me this game that it could get a little bit ugly. I'm saying this more so the fact of I hope the boys prove me wrong and go out there, prove me wrong. Everyone, I feel like, does agree with us here that this is going to be a very, very tough game, but I feel like it's definitely going to be a big, big high score. I could go over to 60 plus. So this could be very much, go the overs in this game if you are betting this weekend. Gamble responsibly. But comment down below your thoughts this weekend. It's going to be a very, very tough game. Luke Adams. Bro, I'm curious with SJ gone next year, halves, Tomato Martin, Metcalf 2025. Will this change our game plan without a long kicker? Bro, I feel like Osako would be a great signing, goal kicking and strike on the edge. For one, I'll touch on Osako. I don't think Osako will come back to New Zealand, in my opinion. I think the Dolphins will probably lock him up as best as he can, but he would be incredible for us. I think, he's an incredible winger. Does has his inconsistencies, but again, I think that he'd be incredible on our wing. I'd love to have Jermaine Osako on our wing. With next year, Tomato Martin and Metcalf for me is our preferred halves pairing next year. Metcalf can step up to be the more dominant half. I think that we need to wean him into that position next year. Metcalf actually has a solid kicking game. Like it's an underlying solid kicking game. Over the weekend, New South Wales Cup, he ended up hitting a 40-20, kick for some decent meters, I think around that 400 to 500 mark, which is a decent sort of range. We've seen it in trials as well. He's got a decent enough boot to really get it out of the opposite end of the field. But it's definitely still an area to work on, in my opinion too. So I would say that our attack definitely changed a little bit. And more so the fact of, I think that looking at trials, bro, if you go to watch the Tigers trial last year and even the Tigers trials this year, we were using less of that block shape off of, less of that 13 shape off of, dummy half. So, the link man shape. So usually Dylan Walker or Tohu Harris will get the first off the ruck and he'll link everything together on the outside, on the wings and that. Metcalf loves to play one off the ruck straight away. I started to notice that a little bit more when he plays like his dominant football self. When he plays 6 for us, he loves to play out the back of shape, which gives a lot more of a fullback sort of look. And that's what I pointed out last year. But looking at his trial form when he plays number 7 and when he wants to be the dominant half out of the 2, he likes to play one off the ruck. He reminds me a lot of Sam Walker, where he loves to play with speed, beat that first, that A defender and cause that shift on the outside to create numbers on the outside. So I do think that our game plan does shift a little bit, but that's just me. We could say it a different way. Long kicking game, I think we got the game plan as in like our wingers, our centers, our back line, get us into great field position that we don't need an incredible long kicking game. But a long kicking game would be preferred as well, as you've just seen throughout the whole competition. Like, if you don't have an incredible long kicker, a lot of times you would struggle, especially if teams hold you back from, the opposite end of the field. You see the doggies, they get pretty much saved by, with Birdo's big bomb. Like, it just gives up so much opportunities for the Dogs to really reset their defensive line and click back into their defensive sets. We will miss that a little bit. But also on the opposite end, I think Tamade Martin's variation in his kicking game, his short kicking game, is preferable for us as well when we get into the opposite end of the field. He gives up so many different options. Running through some stats I ran through, with Tamade Martin at number 7 this year, we're 5 from 8. Our average losing margin's only been 1.6 points per game, which is the most has actually been 2. So, the boys are actually playing for Tamade Martin at that number 7, which is really good to see. Again, with 2 losses, we actually scored more tries and then lost that game. So really take that as you will. And the other game was the Doggies game, where both our wingers and our fullback all dropped out really, really early. And that was a really unfortunate one. So with Tamade Martin in that 7 jersey as well, 26.2 points per game. So we end up becoming a top 5 attack if you sit by those sort of numbers. So that's actually over 8 game samples. So that's a decent sample size. And defensively, we actually become a really good defensive side. So 18.8 points per game. I know seeing over the weekend, we saw conceding 30 points with Tamade Martin back in the lineup. Doesn't show that same sort of form, but consistently within those 8 games, we've actually been a better defensive side with Tamade Martin in number 7. That could mean a multitude of different things, but also I do think that with Tamade Martin at number 7, with his gunslinger mentality, I think he brings confidence to his players around him that he allows them to play their football. I think Shawnee this year, due to injury, has played through the game plan, and it's kind of dimmed the light of a lot of players outside of him, so their confidence gets shot. Where Tamade Martin, I feel like when they play a little bit more of Tamade of just slinging the ball around and the boys running hard lines, we get confidence in our defense in moments. Again, this is coming off last weekend where we didn't get to see that. But before last weekend, when we had Tamade Martin number 7, we've actually had a really positive time there. 5 from 8, really good attacking, top 5 attacking wise, and actually top 5 defensively with 18.8 points per game, where our average at the moment is 23.2. So significant differences on both sides of the field there. And I feel like, as I said before, I feel like the boys play for Tamade Martin. I think he has that to him. I think he's a loved character in our group. And with Luke Metcalf there, I think he brings game-breaking ability. So there's going to be differences to our game. I think it can definitely help us. But we will also obviously miss Sean Johnson's sturdy kicking game. As you said, long kicking game. That's just my opinion anyway. That's just me. Hopefully I didn't go too long there. But yeah, that was just my thoughts overall. All right, last but not least, guys. The score predictions: Greg Hook, Warriors 26, Eagles 24. Would be great to see. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Look, Adam, sounds like we got cap room. Where would you target halves outside? Seems like our pack is sorted. Yeah, I'd probably say still you could look for maybe a game managing half. I don't think there's anything on the market there, so maybe you would look at. I would probably just keep a lot of the cap to really give to a lot of our juniors to keep them around for, years to come. In my opinion, I think that we're starting to become a team that grows from within. I don't really want us to really be chasing massive in the market, because a lot of those market players that we end up bringing over, it does feel like, they end up leaving us within a couple of years anyway. So I think Webby's starting to change the sort of mentality of chasing in the market a lot more now. I think he wants homegrown talent that he's building from beneath. And I think that money can really be easily funded to the Leka Halasimas, to the Dimitri Sifakulas, the players that like that, to keep them for the future. We got Kahu Kappa coming over from the Roosters, a really talented junior there. We got Basi Kala, in New South Wales Cup. He's a talented outside back that we can give some decent money when he comes up to grade. That's just me, in my opinion. I think that with SJ out of the lineup, Tamade Martin and Metcalf is good enough to get us into a top 8 range for me, in my opinion. Our backline, Chance doesn't go anywhere. Dallin doesn't go anywhere. Adam Pompey, I think he's on his last sort of legs with his contract. I think he might have re-signed, actually, so he's probably still around about there. Roger Tuivasa, Sheikh Marcelo Montoya, they're still around the club, around about the club. Adam leaves, but Fisher Harris comes in, so that's a big signing for us. Mitch Barnett, Wade Egan stay there, Nick Cordes stays there, Kurt Catewell stays there, Dylan Walker stays there. So fairly unchanged in those sort of areas there too, and they're a fairly strong lineup. So I want to see that cap really be, used as keeping these juniors around the club. That's just me. That's my opinion. Rob Compton, what about Far Metcalf? Has that been going for Cup? Yeah, see, Metcalf's been, for me, the shining light. Ben Farr's got a lot of ability. The only thing with Ben Farr, and from what I'm hearing, I think Ben Farr will be moving on from us. I've heard little bits of rumors on that too, but we'll have to wait and see. That's not all confirmed yet. If not, it may have been confirmed. But error rate from Ben Farr is really the issue. Like, he's inconsistent. He has errors. He's got amazing ability one week, and next week he probably have 5 errors to show for it. So he probably, for me, he's a bit of a tweener. Like, he looks like in times he's really dominant for New South Wales Cup, but I don't think he's as dominant enough to really get into first grade, be consistent first grader. So that's just me on Ben Farr. But hopefully he goes to a club where, if he does leave and turns into an incredible piece, or if he stays with us, turns into something special. But that's from what I've seen out of Ben Farr. Jacko, yeah, put the cap into our juniors. Agreed. So far, was bigger than Aden. He's huge, massive. Is that a soft for Solomona, bro? Or where did that pop up with? If it's a soft for Solomona, I don't want to touch him at all. No way. I think that we don't need any more big egos around our side. I think that the way we're growing, I think that we're going to become more of a team-based side next year, which I'm really excited for. And we don't really have those big individuals anymore, in my opinion anyway. So, but if that's not on a sofa, if that was Sifa, if there's Sifa Kula, yeah, Sifa's a big boy. Sifa's a big boy. I wouldn't say he's bigger than Ads. I think Ads weighs more for sure. But Sifa is a lot more ranger. And I'm excited for his future, bro. I think it's more so talking about Sifa, but I thought I'd get my point on Sofa Solomona out there anyway. Yeah, Tahi, yeah, Sifa. Yeah, agreed, bro. Agreed. Greg Cook, I'm looking forward to seeing new players coming up in 2025. Up the wires. Agreed. All right, guys, I'll probably end it off there. Thank you so much for all you guys tuning in. They're autocorrect, bro. It ruins the best of us, Tahi. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Again, lastly, before I go to Major, me and Brody don't have a show tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I've got some stuff running around to do tomorrow. It's a public holiday here in Australia, and we're doing some running around for family and that tomorrow afternoon. So I won't be able to jump on Down Unders tomorrow night. Brody, unfortunately, he's not confident enough to really take over the show at the moment. We do it as a duet. So hopefully next week, guys, we will be, definitely next week we'll be back. So get excited for Down Unders, but also get excited for the Warriors this weekend. We will be back on a watch along this weekend. I will be on this one Friday night. Hopefully maybe Levon will be on. Hopefully everything's okay with Levon. So we'll see how we go there. But we will be back with content. Watch along Friday. We're full credit to the boys Friday. So I hope you guys are enjoying, Wires Up TV, all the content we're bringing. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts overall too, guys. Hope you guys like the new, look here, a bit better quality in my opinion, and hopefully better quality with our recording overall. Last but not least, yeah, agreed, Jacko. Agreed. I wouldn't touch Nas with a 10-foot pole in my opinion. Nas William prediction: Young Cleary to get at least one game in top side next year. Heard it here first. Yeah, that's a big one, Nas. That's a big one. I don't agree, but we'll have to see how we go. Take it easy, guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Amazing show. Thank you. You guys did that. You've helped me through this one. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night. Take it easy. Up the wires, baby. Up the wires.